and welcome to Comic Book Spectrum. As soon as we get the video queued up and
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Get ready to explore the world of comics, past, present, and future, with our panelists Eric Hawkins, Brian Rodman, and Clyde Hall. And now here's your host, Brian K. Morris.
Seconds.
we got to put that countdown clock in because Kyle Guthrie did a great job on it. So everyone, welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, issue number 9 for April 22nd, 2021. We hope you're all having a great Thursday evening. And as always, we've got people to thank on here, and we'll be bringing our panel out to entertain you soon. But anyway, you talk about entertainment. We've got it at the Rising Tide Network, who is powering this show 7 days a week of entertainment and information. Conversation and coffee and wristwatches and more conversation and promotion, all kinds of cool stuff. But anyway, please take a screen capture of that this picture, if you would, please, and check out our shows, and please like and subscribe whenever you see our stuff. Also, a big thank you to our Patreon subscribers who help keep this show on the air. www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. Come check out the great reward levels we have for you. Even $1 will get you mentioned on this show and in all future publications, as long as you're an active member. But anyway, come check us out. It's a great way to support your favorite creators on an ongoing monthly basis, and we hope you'll take us up on it. Anyway, it's www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. Plus, we are brought to you by Plasma Fire Graphics. When the look of your book matters to you, check out Plasma Fire Graphics because they do great work for you, just like this. All right, check out Plasma Fire Graphics. When the look of your book matters to you, whether it's comics, whether it's paperbacks, what have you, check out what Jeffrey Hayes can do for you at plasmafiregraphics.com. Also, please look out for their Facebook page because they are awesome. And speaking of awesome, I'm going to bring out 3 guys who make this show a lot of fun to do, and here they are now. Clyde Hall, Brian Rodman, and the Zombiful World of Oz's own Eric S. Hawkins. And Eric and I are going to be at Big River Comic Con tomorrow from 3 to 9, and then Saturday from 9 to 9. And that please check out their Facebook page for details, address, and everything. But please come see us there. We are eager to see you and sell you things. But anyway, we are totally mercenary. But gentlemen, how are you tonight?
Doing good. How are you, BKM?
So far, so good. We'll find out in the next 90 minutes. No, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the very first live comic convention of my year. And I know it's Eric's. I believe it's Eric had a show in St. Charles, right?
Yeah. This will be my second show of the year, and I got a third one in July. So
my
year's picking up.
Yeah, it is, and the end of my year is looking pretty festive with shows too. If we could paint them up the right colors, so but yeah, I'm excited to get out among people. We will be taking all precautions for the Maestro and Miley Cyrus, and so please come see us. It's going to be a great time. Plus, author Amy Hale will be there, and we know Eric and Amy and I are the stars. That's all there is to it. Modesty. You know, Modesty be damned. But anyway,
There's
please
some
come.
other people there. I mean, like Ming from the Comic Book Men.
Yeah.
Wednesday from Adams Family, the original Adams Family. Who was supposed to be there but passed away?
Felix Silla.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a shame to. I'm sorry that we won't be able to meet him, but it'll be fun meeting Lisa Loring. So it'll be a great time. It'll be a lot of fun. So please come see us. We would love to see everybody. And also, folks, thank you to everyone who is giving this show a like and a subscribe and thumbs up wherever you are. Please continue to react to us in a positive way, if at all possible. So, and we want to say hello to Carl Witzman, who is rushing to his seat. And Carlene wonders why he's over there. And hello, Carlene. Mwah. And, Carl's got amorous intentions, I'm sure. And Cindy Kemp, hello there, CKOEPB.com. Check it out. And Brian Hawkins, greetings to you, my friend. And Ryan Permisson, thank you for sharing. And hello, everyone. Happy Throwback Thursday. And, Ryan Permisson brings up a quick programming note. Due to my travels, tomorrow morning, I will be ousted from Nevermind the Furthermore, and it's about damn time, too. Finally, we got a good host. It's Jody McVie from the desk of a small press publisher. He is going to be taking over. Then this coming Wednesday, Ryan will be the host of Nevermind the Furthermore, 10 a.m., Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 9 a.m. Central. And then Carl Witzman is going to take a crack at hosting on Friday, a week from tomorrow, on Friday, April 30th. I will be doing Monday's show, because I'll be between appointments. So anyway, please come check it out and watch their shows and see how a show should be done correctly. But anyway, let's see. And Carl Winston says, there is no stupid o'clock tonight, so Joe Dog says you can go long. And we tend to anyway. And thank you, Carl. And Amy's show, Amy had her show last night, so please check out Creative as Hail.
She canceled it last night.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, unforeseen circumstances.
Oh, I hate that. She's probably she's warming up her art hand, is what it is.
She's gonna need to.
Yeah, I know, because Eric is excited. He's in the art contest at Big River Comic Con, and from what he tells me, there's going to be a pretty fierce battle for positions 2 and 3. I think it is.
I've been doing a 2-hour drawing competition for 2 years. Every Thursday night. So, the speed I've gotten down.
Right.
There's no competition.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be blood on the floor. I think you should record.
Let the bodies hit the floor.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be brutal.
Excellent.
I can see him up there with Amy.
I'm coming out to ACD, by the way. Thunderstruck.
Yes.
I like that. And the Rising Tide Broadcast Network betrays us by saying, so basically you guys are all set for a 4-hour broadcast.
Whew.
We'll see. And Ryan, we see your questions there. We will get to them after we do our weekly reviews. And by the way, in the middle of my travels, I am still planning on having a show next week. So this show, like the Three Dog Night song says, shall go on. So anyway, I am ready. And Clyde has his hand up. Yes, sir.
Before we go on,
yes.
I have something this week coming up. Tomorrow, our friend Kelly Gettner from Back Issue Breakfast Club, she and I are launching a new show on YouTube. And it's a recorded show. It's not live. So she's going to put it up, and I'll have links to it on my site on Facebook. But it is called B-List Boosters. And since she and I have a deep and abiding love for the Justice Society of America characters, we are going to have 2 of them as our first subjects. Basically, it's focusing on characters, comic book characters that you've liked or thought had a lot of potential, but maybe they've just never developed into their own pretty big things. Yeah. I can't really tell you who the Justice Society of America person that I am most interested in talking about will be tomorrow, but he's a fighting feline and the undefeated heavyweight champion of the world on Earth, at least on Earth 2. I don't know about Earth 1, but anyway, be sure to tune in. We had a lot of fun recording it and talking about the reasons that we like some. And her character, the one that she picked, actually has kind of come into her own, which is always a great B-list booster moment when you have somebody that you've been rooting for years, and all of a sudden, oh look, they're Guardians of the Galaxy right up there. Everybody's liking them all of a sudden.
That's great. What time is that? What time is the show?
Just put it up tomorrow morning, and then you can just go to YouTube and find it at any time if you check out her site, or on Facebook. I'll put links up to it. So.
Oh yeah, please do. I definitely want to check that out. And
Very
I think
cool.
everyone else will want to check that out too. That sounds great, Clyde. And there's Joe Dog McKeel. Sorry you're feeling down. It says unforeseen here too. Action contrary to swallowing again. That does not sound good. Take care of yourself, brother. And Carl Wisman says, everyone is sick. I'll get a bucket. We're still in good health. But anyway, and Cindy Kemp says, so for your art contest theme music, you should use pictures at an exposition. So that may be not quite the blood curdling effect that Eric may be going.
So
for.
fierce, Eric. It would just strike the fear in everyone's hearts.
What is that Dilly minuet?
Tiptoe through the tulips.
Yeah, there we go.
I'll sing it for you.
Tiptoe through the tulips.
Yeah, if you want to terrify everyone.
Yeah, there we go. But not for that reason. And as someone who is finally recovering, I can understand Joe Dog. I'm glad you're feeling better, Carly. I seriously am. And I can hear Donna sneezing her head off in the other room. Please, Donna, take care of yourself. Please, please, please. But anyway, thank you all for being here. And whether you're watching us live or on the reruns, we do appreciate you all because you guys help make this show what it is. We appreciate your participation. And now we're going to participate in the weekly comic book reviews of what's come out recently and stuff we dig. And who would like to go first? Okay, fine, I will. Anyway, okay, I'll do it. I can hear the enthusiasm. But anyway,
Yay, Brian! Go, Brian!
Go, Brian!
All right!
Go, Brian! Go,
Why,
We are
Brian!
not
Fired up now.
worthy! We are not worthy! There you go. That's
Yes,
enough hype.
Yeah. No, so get on with it, Morris. Anyway, I have a classic comic book, and you're all saying, "Well, Brian, you're kind of in the pocket of DC Comics, it seems." Well, no, not necessarily. But this is a comic that's been around for longer than me, if that's imaginable. And it's been around. It's had its ups and downs, but it's still going, and it's still good. It's called Mad Magazine. It started out as a comic book, of course, from EC Comics. And after the great comic purge of the mid-50s, only this survived the Bill Gaines empire. And the thing is, in the last couple of years, Mad, at one point had gone to quarterly publication because its sales were what they were. And the last couple of years, this is issue 19, by the way. So like in the last couple of years, it went from all original to presenting classic stories. And you're probably thinking, well, why do I want to buy reprints? Well, this is a glorious reason why. This stuff is still funny, even after all these years. And just this issue alone, there's a nice homages to things like the Mad Zeppelin, not Arthur, but there was a bird that used to appear in all the margins back in the 60s, and Melvin from issue 1, along with Dave Berg and Bill Gaines and the father of Mad, Harvey Kurtzman. And you open up this book, and the stuff is like a panorama of great artists and stuff from like 1957, 2008, 1986, 97, 62, 89, 85, hike. Anyway, and you start out with a great Jack Ricard painting there. And then your first story is by Wally Wood. Okay. One of the greatest illustrators that comics has ever seen. Plus, of course, mainstays like Sergio Aragonis, who is always funny. And then they also not only have a parody of Back to the Future drawn by Mort Drucker, they also have Back to the Future 2, also by Drucker. And all kinds of great things. Dave Berg, the lighter side of Alfred's Poor Almanac, and relevant fortune cookies for other dining spots. God knows we need that. And again, more Sergio Aragonis, a Antonio Prohius page. Yeah, I'm bending it back. Deal with it. But it's not spy versus spy.
Huh.
And this is a lot of this stuff. I've been a mad. There is a new thing: the amazing, all-seeing Al Jaffe's Mad ESP about stuff that he had predicted in his various things for Mad over the last 50 years. But there is a lot of great stuff. Joe Orlando has a story in here, who's from the classic EC days and later became an editor at DC Comics. John Caldwell. There's a little bit of new stuff, and they're still doing Mad fold-ins.
Cool.
Yeah, this is funny. This is good stuff. And it is a testimony to how relevant Mad can remain. I mean, back when I was a kid, my mother found out my uncle was babysitting me by letting me read his Mad magazines. She hit the roof. And it probably explains a tragic amount of my personality. But this stuff is still funny. It's still anti-establishment. It still makes a lot of great points, and it's still a good buy. It really is. They are. I believe the magazine's now bi-monthly. Yes, published 6 times a year by EC Publications, and it's still as good as the old days. So please check your local newsstands. Your local comic person can get Mad magazine still through Diamond, and it's worth getting, especially when you read the headlines. You're looking for some escapist stuff that will make you laugh. Alfred E. Newman's got the prescription for you, and that's my recommendation of the week.
No spy versus spy, though, huh?
Well, let's see. I think I want to double check before I commit, but I think they do have a short spy versus spy, a half pager. So the spies are represented. Good. Yeah, but this is just so much fun. It really is, even to this day. So that is my recommendation for the week.
Awesome. I'll go ahead and go next.
All right, sounds good, Brian. What you got for us, sir?
Well, we're going to turn the clocks back a few weeks where our dear the Captain Eric Hawkins had a review that just continued to drop in score magically throughout his discussion. And we're looking to repeat that this week with my pick called Steambound from Behemoth Comics. It is by Giuseppe Andriazzi, Lorenzo De Santo, and Francesca Citarelli. And I'm going to start off on the high note before I, get into some of the more negative parts about it. The artwork is phenomenal. I mean, just check that out. So, like that. That's really good. And it's really stylized, and that's what caught my eye. It was just a really interesting looking story. And like right there, you can see just the artwork is really, really good.
That's pretty.
That's where the good parts stop, unfortunately. It's I would tell you the story, but I don't really know what it is. In the first, I tried to read this twice, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I get the gist. I had to go and kind of look up a review just to really understand what the story is. And once I read that review, I was able to follow a little bit more what the story is. It's about 2 boys who are mischievous, and it takes place in this fantasy world where you can tell the authors really try to make it like a really just bring you into a high fantasy world, and I feel like they're just trying to do way too much and not really knowing how to do it well, which which is difficult to do. I mean, when you're world building, one small move can kind of take the reader out. The thing that really took me out of it was the lettering. And this, I think, is a testament to letterers everywhere. If you look in the lettering, see if I can get this in here, get the shine out. The spacing and it's really bad.
And you went straight for the profanity one too.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Whoop, and we're done. No, but really, like but it's like that part of the time, and other parts of the time, it looks like this.
Oh no!
So
there's so little warmth in that.
Like, so I don't know. I just, for me, that's kind of my. I have a little bit of a pet peeve when it comes to lettering. And look, I'm a letterer, you know, in the sense of I create comics and I do every step of it. So I get it. I understand. You may not know all there is to know about lettering when you first start, because I didn't. I absolutely didn't. So that I didn't want to like just, you know, that I saw that with the artwork and I was like, that's okay. You know, I'll give it grace. It's an issue 1. That's okay, you know. And then I started reading it, and unfortunately, the story didn't make a whole lot of sense. There's grammar problems all throughout. There are 3 jokes in the first 5 or 6 pages that follows the 2 main characters as they're, you know, kind of running around the city, getting into some mischievous trouble. They tell a few jokes, and I don't really understand. Like, it's not that I just didn't get the jokes; it's that the dialogue doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And I read it. I reread it 3 times. I reread that part 3 times because I was like, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just not understanding it. That is not the case at all. And they actually did a similar thing that Eric, that your comic did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not your
skeleton
comic,
horses.
The skeleton horses, where they the first 6 pages. And then they do like a little world building prose page, which has like 4 or 5 grammatical errors in it that makes it hard to read. And then they jump into the future, but they don't tell you it's the future. You don't know who any of these people are. And they never really tell you that these characters are the same until towards the end of the book, which is fine. But then we jump back to the past as well. So I'm not necessarily, and it's just, it seems like I said, it seems like they really want to do a lot of fancy storytelling with high fantasy world building. They just didn't really do it well. And that it really, you know, I didn't finish it, mostly because towards the end of it, I was like, I don't even know what's happening anymore. Every time I would hit these like pockets of dialogue that didn't make sense, I'd have to go back and reread, and I was like, I can't do it. So, but I will say this, I give it a 5 out of 10 because the 5 is the artwork alone. The artwork alone is great, and if the dialogue made a little more sense, I would be getting issue 2, but I won't be. And unfortunately, this is another. I've only had 2 negative reviews on this show, and both have been by Behemoth, and that makes me sad because I've read other books by them that are pretty decent. So unfortunately, we're gonna get a throw it across the room rating. However, I have honorable mentions that are positive because I do want to just say positive things about comics when as much as I possibly can. For those who know me, which is ironic, I do not like Christian-based entertainment. I just don't. I am a Christian. I don't like Christian-based entertainment because most of the time it's very cheesy, very family-friendly, unrealistic stuff. However, this comic, A Reign of Beasts by Fishcoin Press, is wonderfully done. It is a retelling of chapter 7 of the book of Daniel from the Bible. It's not preachy. It's not cheesy at all. It's just it's discussing his visions that he has. I mean, look at that artwork for one. Like that's just so cool, and he does such a good job of bringing you in to the story, and it just, I mean, oh, good grief! Like this is the 2-page spread of like God's throne. And, you know, and it's got a lot of Sandman vibes. Just really cool book. You know, I with Memoirs of an Angel, I really try to speak about the same themes and do similar things with you know, that he is doing at Fishcoin Press. It's great. If you're like, oh, I don't want to read Christian stuff, don't even think about it like that. If you just like good mythology, cryptid, you know, type stories, this is excellent. Go pick this up at Fishcoin Press. They have a website, fishcoinpress.com. It is awesome. The storytelling's great. The artwork is phenomenal. And that is my honorable mention. I give this a solid 9 out of 10. Just because I read it twice for fun, not because I didn't know what was happening. So he's so creative with the different types of beasts that he draws, and just like I said, he doesn't preach at you. It's not, you know, it's just good storytelling, and it focuses on the monsters. It feels kind of like a kaiju vision comic.
The C.S. Lewis meets really Cthulhu. Cool.
Very, very much so. Yes,
I like it.
Very cool. Very well done.
Yeah. And let's see, we've gotten some comments here. And my Mad Magazine, I forgot to give it a number review. I'll give it a 9.9. Only because it doesn't have like a lot of original material. There is a little bit, but they mentioned Al Jaffe's. By the way, it was his 100th birthday that they were celebrating. Yeah.
Cool.
So anyway, so Carlene says, love Mad Magazine, and mothers hate Mad Magazine. Because they turn out like me. And hello, Ted Davies Artistry. Glad to see you. And
hey, Ted's got a book launching this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. And we should talk later about Eric's book.
Monday.
Next Monday.
Monday. That's right.
There's a lot happening on Monday. And also, Grim 101 will be launching Friday. From Ted Davies Artistry. Please check out his YouTube channel and also his Facebook page at TedDaviesArtistry.com. And you can, Ted, please provide a link so that people can click on it. And there's a place you can like click on the Kickstarter or wherever you're at.
The pre-launch page to sign up now.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. I was trying to remember the name of it. Pre-launch page. You can tell I haven't run one in a while, but but anyway, please. And then when you are notified about it, pledge generously because it's going to be a great read. Now, and Ted says, "How's the Fab Four of comics?" Well, Ringo here is doing great.
I was about to say, I'm not Ringo.
It's me. And Carlene says, my mom had no problem with me buying Mad Magazine, which probably says a lot about her and me. Yeah, means she's mom of the year. Yeah. And Ted Davies Artistry said, thanks for the shout out. Launching Sunday at 7 p.m. I assume that is Eastern. Please check out Ted Davies Artistry and be ready for that. Now, Carl Witzman has a follow-up question for Brian Rodman. I am comic ignorant. Carl is not a comic book reader. But what was wrong with the lettering? I know what I thought when I saw it initially.
Yeah. So with lettering in general, there is here I'll use the other comic that I talked about as an example. Lettering is very much, it's like an art form in and of itself, and I discovered that because I did terrible lettering with the initial comics that I put out, and a lot of it has to do with spacing, a lot of it has to do with font size. It's just more appealing to the eye, and it flows better with the artwork. So for example, this is kind of your standard, it's usually about an 8 size font. The spacing is about it's just maybe a a quarter of an inch in between, and that's pretty standard. When you get into, and the spacing as well. So this is another. This is actually the book I'm going to be reviewing next week. So this is a better. Whoop, let's get this. Gosh, these glossy pages. Can't. There you go. So
there
like,
you go.
Tilt
Yeah.
the top of the magazine away from you. There we go. You'll see it.
there we go. So yeah. So something like, good grief. So something like that. Man, it's right on. Ha 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 ha. There we go.
Yeah.
So that, that spacing is really good. How you organize the lines. It's not, you don't have sentences that go on sideways. They're stacked really evenly. So you've got like a couple words at the top, and then it kind of follows the dialogue bubble. So there's not a lot of just empty space there. And with that issue, you saw a lot of empty space. The spacing in between the lines, where there was a lot, looked like it was double spaced, which it's kind of one of those things like when you go to school and they teach you how to, like, the MLA standard of writing research papers, and there are specific rules that you follow. That's really what it comes down to. And because of that, I think, that when you see lettering like that, don't dismiss the book. I didn't. I saw that and I still bought it because, some people just, they don't realize that, or they just chose to go a different direction. Don't let that decide whether or not a book is good. However, there, especially if you're looking to get published or anything like that, publishers, most of the time, Behemoth apparently doesn't care, but most of the time, publishers are looking for that standard quality of lettering, where every letterer kind of does follow the same rules, and you can change the font style up a little bit here and there as long as it's legible. But then there are other creators who do fun, crazy things with lettering. And as long as it stays within that realm of that specific style, it's okay. But when you get into the like, I've seen lettering where, like, you've got sentences like a dialogue balloon that's like this long on a page, and it's just just long sentences, and that structure just it prevents the flow with the artwork. Is the best way that I can describe it. Brian, you said you had some thoughts. You want to help me out a little bit? Did I miss something with that?
No,
Okay.
I think you did. I think you did a great job. I just happen to have what I think is one of the greatest books on comic book lettering from
Nice.
Richard Starkings, who is one of the pioneers of digital lettering through Comic Craft, and every a couple times a year they have like their fonts on sale. And they're widely used throughout the industry, and it's got a Brian Boland cover. What more do you need? But let me take the full screen here. And another thing, not just, the font is very important, I feel, but we'll look at this page here. And I'm trying to get closer without bending that book.
The struggle is real.
I told you, people. But you notice how the placement, and it almost helps guide your eye across the page.
Yes.
Plus the lettering itself, there's not a whole lot of white space around it, but it doesn't look crowded at the same time. And I think some of the better lettering fonts, some of which are supplied by the artists themselves, they turn to Comic Craft for digitizing their the ability to draw letters.
Yeah.
And I think good lettering looks like someone got out their Ames lettering guide and started drawing the lines, and put it all down in ink. The stuff that you showed in that one example, Brian, to me just looked practically antiseptic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to jump,
your lettering's good.
Oh yeah. If you want to get the full screen real quick, I'll show you a quick example of another problem that I found with lettering in this book was consistency. So like I said, right here,
Yeah.
Like, look at all that white space.
Ouch. Yeah.
In between, and the size of the font.
Yeah.
Is that
is
3
larger.
different sizes on that one page?
Yes,
at least.
Yes.
Yeah.
So from this bubble to this balloon to this balloon, 3 different fonts, 3 different spacing, and it was just like, what is happening? And then there were other parts where it was very confusing. Right here, you can't really tell that well, but like they changed the color of the dialogue balloons for no real reason, and they do it throughout the whole book. And it's there's no color. Like in memoirs in my book, when I have different balloons that have different colors, they match characters and they're consistent the whole time.
Right.
That's not the case with this one. It's like some of different characters have the same color, but it changes colors randomly, and there's seemingly no real reason why. So yeah, so Carl, that's what I meant by the lettering was just really off. Is all of those things a comic book creator, especially when you get to this level, you should know that. And that I would say I'm not really sure what Behemoth was thinking when they published this. So
from a reader's point of view, if the dialogue moves you from one line to the next line and the story flows and you have no problem recognizing who's speaking, they're succeeding. Yeah. If you have to reread a page a couple of times because you're not really sure which balloon goes first, which dialogue comes first, and who's saying it, that's a problem.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and one of the things I remember when I started paying attention to lettering back in the 70s, one thing that was always drummed into my head by the fan press was lettering is the one aspect of comic book presentation that you rarely notice unless it's done badly.
Right.
You know, and you look at some of the great letterers, Abe Kriegstein from the Spirit, Sam Rosen, Joe Rosen, John Costanza, Art Simek, Gasper Saladino, Ben Oda. Their stuff had was succeeded because it looked warm. It looked like there was variety in it. Some digital letters, even I think it's been mentioned on the show before, scan like different versions of the same letter.
Yeah.
And have it pop in randomly just to give it that illusion that it was hand drawn. And it kind of pains me to see poor lettering, especially when Comic Craft stuff. Comic Craft is not the only source for digital lettering.
Blambot.
Blambot, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really Nate Picost.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. See, and there, we've already got 3 different, and that's just scratching the surface. But they're just spend a little bit of money because something like this is not an expense. I tell people when they're creating stuff, it's not an expense; it's an investment in your product and your art. Yes, Eric.
Blambot has several fonts out there for free for independent creators too.
Oh, that's
several
true.
and tutorials. They all have tutorials, and there's free tutorials everywhere to go, to find, to look up. People everywhere on the internet have tutorials on how to letter. So bad lettering shouldn't be an issue anymore in this day and age.
Yeah, and like I said, like just the fact that it got to a publisher like Behemoth and got it to the printer and into stores looking like that really surprises me.
Yeah, that's disappointing. Yeah. Well, and if you want to pay for a book, this is a very good one. It's only $10 and it's still available on Amazon. There was a DC lettering and coloring guide from many years ago. I think it was Brian Chiarello did it because he was working in
production. I don't think I have that one.
Yeah, well, it's no longer like $15 or whatever the original price.
Probably not.
Yeah, since it's out of print. In fact, most of the DC comic tutorial books are fetching healthy prices, and that one seemed to be more than any of them. So, but yeah, and and I was going through my second choice, Exciting Comics. I kind of gave a lukewarm review to them last time, and the lettering is one of the first things that got me. There's a couple stories in here that are where the lettering is okay. You know, that's not badly spaced. But then, but then there's one here where they do like a color hold, and it's a little hard to see some places because it's somewhat light.
Yeah.
Although, and it's a shame because that looks to be the best story in this thing. But yeah, it's like you said, there should be no excuse for seeing.
Was it like this but lettering?
Yes, that's yes.
Yeah, I don't have the lettering when I got this one in the Freddie Williams How to Draw Digitally.
Yeah, I've got the Freddie Williams. The we did when Cookie was wanting to learn how to do computer coloring, we did shop around and we got a fair price on the lettering book. But I also have the Denny O'Neil writing one, which is DC should keep that around a lot because that, you know, if Denny O'Neil doesn't want to teach it, you don't need to learn it about comic book writing. Seriously, he's one of the greatest writers ever. And the Rising Tide Broadcast Network says, you guys need to come together for advice for indie comic creators. We could do a show like that.
I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Well, the rest of us will carry you, Eric. It's okay.
They're my secrets.
Eric's like, I'm thee for a reason, folks.
That's right. My God, get out your torture implements. Get the red hot pokers out. I'll never talk. And Carl Witzman says, glad I asked. It's good to pick up new skills. Well, yeah. Thank you seriously. Thank you very much for asking, Carl. That was an excellent question.
Oh, very good question. Yeah.
Yeah, and Rising Tide Broadcast Network says, here's the link to Ted's Kickstarter. So please check that out. Yeah, and give that man some support. Thank you so much. And so we've got 2 more reviews to hear from.
I'll go. I'm not following Clyde.
Okay, I don't blame you. Why do you think I went first? I know my skill level here. So let's hear what Eric Hawkins is going to toss across the room this week.
I can't get this open, but look at these coasters.
Ooh,
nice. Look at that. You
They're
just
on
gave me
sale
an idea.
this week, so I bought a bunch.
Nice. That's lovely.
So I didn't toss it last week because apparently it's going out to backers, but the backers hate it.
Oh, no.
So I'm a little torn again this week because what I'm reviewing is it's another image book. And I've bought so many image books lately, it feels like the 90s. They are totally different than the books that came out in the 90s. And this one's actually, it's 2 months old, but they're coming out regularly. I mean, on time. The second issue was just out a couple weeks ago, and the third issue comes out next week. And I've been wanting to pick it up, and I saw it. I was like, I'll go ahead and pick it up. But it's 2 Moons. It's a Civil War era book. So I've been going for the history books too, you know. The Midnight Western and the Garden of Evil or whatever it was. It's a -3 on my scale, but
and plummeting.
Right. I'm going to try to pronounce the names. John, which is easy, Arcudi, and Valerio Giangordano. Okay. But it's an ongoing series. It's an unlimited series. It's coming out every month. Issue 5 will be out in June. So, I mean, it's coming out every month on time, which is good to see from a book because you don't even see that from the big 2 sometimes. But it's based on the main character here. Let me get back to so I can see this. Virgil, who's a Pawnee Indian in the Union Army. And, I'm going through the book and I'm getting vibes of American Werewolf in London when the main character kept seeing his dead buddy telling him about things. Because there's a couple scenes in here. And actually, apparently his grandfather was a shaman of sorts. So his grandfather is talking to him through other people, whether it be a dead Indian in a hospital or other characters. He's calling him 2 Moon. He is 2 Moons. That's who this guy ends up being. There's no crazy stuff in the beginning where it's a past and jumps 12 years in the future and you don't know why. It is actually a very good book. Lettering's good, and I've got to put my glasses on because I took them off and I can't see close up still. Though I did go to the eye doctor last week, got rid of my bifocal contacts.
Oh.
And I could see a lot better close up even now. But I still have to put readers on to read a book. But the art is really good in this. I've never heard of the artist. Maybe I should have, or I've just forgotten the name. But I find it really good. Now, stuff like this impresses me because it's just so much on one page. And being an artist, or what I like to call an artist sometimes, something like this would just intimidate me. An entire battle.
Ooh. I just got indigestion.
I just finished my first 2-page spread ever. It looked okay, but now I'm looking, oh man, maybe I could do better. But I mean, the art. Here's a good close-up. I'll show you this one here, over here. So it's got a little bit of a sketchy style to it, but it's good. I mean, you can see the depth in the page, going from the main, the forefront characters to the background characters back here. And I'm sorry, I just flipped you all off. I'll use a different finger. But so much of it, I noticed how well the artist is able to portray depth on the same page. Here it is. This panel, as simple as it is, impressed me with the stump and the barbed wire in the foreground and the characters behind it. I don't know why. It just really impressed me. I felt a sense of depth. But the story, this guy got Virgil here. Has to go to a local hospital, in Civil War times, get some bandages with another guy. They come back after he's spoken to a few people that were dead through his grandfather, but they come back. Their units being attacked by the Confederates. Then there's this weird sergeant on the Union Army who. This is where I don't know where it is, but I guess these are demons, and he can see them now through his grandfather's like opened up powers in him where he has some kind of vision to see people for who they really are. And he's with a sergeant who just shoots a Confederate soldier just point blank just to kill him, and he's trapped in barbed wire. He can't go anywhere, and Virgil here is trying to get him to go back. Let's capture him, take him back, see what he knows. Now we want to kill him, so he just blasts him. Then the Confederates across the river shoot this guy in the chest, the sergeant, and he turns around and says, "No, I'm fine." And then this is what Virgil is seeing.
Oh.
It's not what everybody else is seeing, but that's what he's seeing.
Wow.
And then there's the soldier he had just shot, and Virgil's grandfather's talking through him to him about that being, the darkness that he needs to fight.
Well, you just sold this book for me already.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it ends like this, and I can't wait to get back to Comic Shop and get the second issue because the rest of the Union Army, all they saw was him shoot their sergeant.
Oh
man,
nice.
Now, the only complaint I have about the book, which has got to be something, and it is some of the dialogue. Which when you get so they got this one's okay. The little nurse, she's Irish, so she's got an Irish accent, so she speaks some weird words, y'all and bandages and disbandages and talking weird. But it's the other people they got in here where they try to shorten some of the dialogue to make them sound. I don't even know what that word is. Hold on. We're going in and going. The filthy Seekish is a coming. Is a coming. Stuff like that kind of. I get what they're trying to do. They're supposed to be, older dialect and stuff like that. But some of those got me. And there was some really bad ones in here too, and I can't find them now. Yo, you ain't fit for battle. And there's some of these others, like this kind of what's at. I mean, there's a lot of apostrophes and words and stuff like that. But other than that, that's the only thing I had to pick. I mean, the art's great, the story's great. I can't wait to get the next book. I want to go right now and get it. It's $3.99 from Image. It's a good sized book. I give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Wow.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, I will be getting that next week when I might just go to the
go next
store.
week and get 3 issues in one.
Yeah, I was gonna say I might go tomorrow and see if it's there.
That art looks like to me at least, from what I could see, it looks like an early Tim Truman kind of style about it.
Yeah, it had a good vibe on there. I did do a search while you were talking, Eric, and Valerio Giordano does have a very nice Instagram page.
Oh, I'll have to follow that then.
Yeah, in fact, give me a moment here, and I can share it. And
bring it up. Let's look at it real quick.
Yeah, let's see here. Chrome tab. There we go. I don't think it'll be audio, so I'm not going to worry about that. So here we go. Take a look at that. What do you think? And
I like that black and white a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
I like that one there.
Yeah.
I like the one on the left, the close up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
that is.
Yeah.
All right, this guy's good.
Yeah, seriously. And like I said, he's got a 446 posts. So yeah, I'm gonna follow.
Yep.
So he's got another follower now. But yeah, I mean, and you see like a Doctor Strange and the Elektra there. And I'm not sure what all he made.
Oh, is he also doing that Carmen book too from Image?
I don't know.
Hmm.
But yeah, look at
Wow.
yeah. So yeah, and I remember John Arcudi from the '90s. He wrote Gen 13 for a while.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
I should be ashamed of that because I collected almost every single one of those. But names just don't stick anymore with me.
Yeah, I understand. But anyway, there was the Facebook page, and please look him up. And Carl Witzman says you can spend 20 minutes looking at that battle scene. Boy, is that
there was a lot of stuff in it, and I drew. I just did. I could probably show it. I don't know if I should show it.
Give it a shot. We'll see if we can get it up on the screen here. And by
Shield
the way,
your
Let
eyes.
me back up from my screen just a bit here.
yeah, but while you're doing that, John Celestri, glad to have you here, sir. I'm thinking of using my own handwriting to create a varied font. You should. You really should.
Yeah.
I know a number of
Oh yeah, people
artists
love that kind of
do
stuff.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And being an artist, I think you could come up with some really good fonts. And supposedly, once you get this done, it's a lot quicker than doing it the standard way. And the Rising Tide Broadcast Network, always into public service announcements, says here's the captain, Eric Hawkins Kickstarter, at this address there. And Brian Hawkins, I'll get to your comment in just a second here. And there we go. And let me get this down here. So
Oh,
yeah.
Ooh.
nice.
It's my first attempt at a 2-page spread, so I'm hoping I get to match up evenly. And I made it right in the middle of the book too, so hopefully that'll help out some.
Yeah.
That should help. That should help a lot.
Yeah. I'll even tell you about it real quick.
Please.
So this is the ship. Do you see my mouse moving? No, you don't. Now do you?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
we did.
I was looking at the top screen. So this is the I can't remember the name of the ship. The Plunder Kitten, yellow-bellied Plunder Kitten. This is a Cowardly Lion's ship. This is a lifeboat from that ship. Here's the Tin-Man Scarecrow. These are pumpkin fighters.
Oh,
That
Nice.
the flying monkeys can't just fly around in their wings all the time. They need something to fly around and shoot people with. So these got giant guns on the front. So they're attacking the yellow-bellied Plunder Kitten as our heroes try to go to the pumpkin patch to find Jack the Pumpkinhead right here, who's kidnapped Ozma and Dorothy.
Nice.
Oh, that's lovely.
And now I'm
You
going to
did
stop sharing. You've seen enough. Well,
That's
hold on.
right.
Here, I'll even show you this. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Okay, we'll bring her back then.
But this is how rough my pencils are.
They're better than mine, buddy.
They're bad. They're very loose. I have very loose pencils.
Oh, I love it though. Very good. Thank you for sharing that, Eric.
Hey, no problem.
That's awesome, Eric.
Nice.
As long as you have a good inker, who cares how your pencils?
Exactly.
I'm a little better, but I'm horrible at inking.
I disagree, especially what I could show people your first thing that you and I worked on together.
Please don't.
Yeah, we'll be
That's why I'm giving you the original pages from them. They're horrible.
Yeah, so this way I'll have blackmail material. It'll be another.
I'm hoping maybe you could sell them.
We'll see. I'll hang on to them because you're going places, and it's a good investment, especially for the price. But anyway, Brian Hawkins says, looks like Two Moons #1 went to a second printing, so it might be hard to get a first printing of it. The thing is, sometimes with second printings, you can get a different cover.
I believe they did have a different cover, but I've noticed a lot on the image books that I've picked up. They all say the first issue sold out, and I keep finding the first issue.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a sales ploy or what.
What was very interesting was The Last Ronin, that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles book that I reviewed on issue 1 of Comic Book Spectrum. For weeks, they were like, "Oh, it's sold out," and we're like, I mean, I knew people that were finding, the first printings at different comic book stores.
I couldn't. That's one I couldn't find anywhere.
It was gone. I couldn't find it at mine, but I knew a couple friends found the first printing, and then of course they started pumping out like the really cool ones. I know Ted Davies got like the director's cut.
Oh yeah.
And it was really cool. So I'm jealous about his copy.
Well, you can also get jealous because he announced that his architecture penmanship is being made into his fonts for his new comic coming out after Grim 101.
Nice.
Just saying.
Nice.
And he mocks us with his laughter. And nice is exactly what Carl Wiss was saying about that artwork you showed, Eric. Well done.
Thank you.
And Rising Tide Broadcast Network says, I have done my first font in many years. Microsoft Font Maker is a free program that works well.
Ooh.
There you go. Very cool. Very cool. Well, we have waited long enough, folks. You have waited long enough. Now comes the gold standard of comic book commentary, the one, the only. We'll call him the also. Poor Brian and I are going to be left out in the cold here. But anyway, the Clyde Hall. What have you for us this week, my friend?
I have gone completely off of the rails that have been traveled tonight by doing a mainstream comic, but the not so mainstream of the mainstream.
Okay.
If you have ever read any of the titles of DC's Young Animal, it is a very fresh attempt to capture the interest of young adult readers, which is a very difficult, I think, sometimes market to crack. So I first heard about them with Cave Carson has a cybernetic eye that they put out on their first wave, and I thought, I know Cave Carson. He didn't have a cybernetic eye, but this is weird. And it was a great blending of classic DC characters with a very fresh perspective. And so then they came out with and like some of the other imprints of DC, they were kind of on again, off again. They had a big launch, and then I hadn't heard for a while, and I was afraid maybe they'd gone by the wayside. But then, yes, I was excited too to hear that they were going to do a Far Sector comic, which is a DC Green Lantern imprint, but with a young animal perspective. That's a very good example of the interior artwork. That cover is very much brought in from some of the battle that you'll see during this. This is number 11 out of a 12-issue series, and show you a couple of selected pages here. This is the kind of a splash page. The artist is very good at making things alien. Sometimes at the expense of much detail in the background, and then sometimes extreme amounts of detail in the foreground. So I do know, that there's some blanks. There's some blanks in the background sometimes, and usually that bugs me, but not for this because it's such an alien landscape. Actually, it's not a landscape at all. It's a Dyson sphere.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
And this when we get down to the heroics, we get down to images like this of our main character, which I really, really love. One of the coolest Green Lantern outfits I think I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, that's fresh.
Very nice design. And it is a very fresh kind of thing. So, without further ado, let me launch you into the world of Far Sector number 11. DC's Young Animal, DC, $3.99 cover price. It is written by N.K. Jemisin. Art and color by Jamal Campbell. And letters by Darren Bennett. Maturity level is 17 plus, and with good reason. What was your teen comic book infatuation? That love affair you were too young for when colorful and probably superhero adventures first demanded your attention. When your juvenile phase of comic fandom ended and a deeper appreciation of the medium began. When Watchmen widened your eyes and appeared on best literature lists. When Vertigo gave you mature fantasy realms that you'd never experienced before. Maybe when Peter Parker's teen angst troubles stopped being abstractions and hit you in the high school angst where you dwelled. The moment when, whatever the trigger, your young adult self gained appreciation of the art form's impact on your life. Well, Young Animal's imprint has aimed for that age group with highly creative and entertaining past offerings. I'm a few years or decades removed from young Adam, but I appreciated the freshness of their imprint. As the Vertigo line ended and DC trimmed their operation, Young Animal's on-again, off-again status seemed uncertain. But Far Sector, the non-traditional Green Lantern 12-issue series written by N.K. Jemisin, might provide such a watershed moment for modern young adult readers. It's Exhibit A for why DC's Young Animal imprint should continue and deserves to continue. I chose this breakdown of 11 because next issue's the climactic resolution. And extolling the title's virtue here maybe will lead you to pick up the trade when it comes out soon, or maybe even go back and get the single issues with a pull order for next month. Just do not read number 11 cold, as it is the wind-up before the finale, and this series should be read in order. In number 11, Jemisin's conveying fundamental truths about human existence by couching them in a fantastical fictional setting, adeptly using one of science fiction's and literature's greatest strengths. She's taken her time in establishing 3 alien races over the course of this series, the sentients comprising the City Endless. While plot developments have been an abstract, red, non-human Game of Thrones, in number 11, the curtains are pulled back on the civilization's clay feet with abject relatability. It's no happy accident. Jemisin's a top science fiction and fantasy writer, winner of multiple Hugo Awards, a Nebula Award, and others. In Far Sector, she has fitted her tale into the current Green Lantern Corps continuity of identifying problems before they escalate into galaxy-spanning conflicts early, before the entire Corps must fight bloody conflicts across the cosmos, a situation that the Guardians of the Universe used to prevent a lot. In other words, she's breaking tradition with most of the recent GL runs until the most recent. The city endurings, a Dyson sphere, formed after 3 warring races destroyed their own homeworlds. Survival flotillas joined together, they set aside their differences, and they created this new society. Thanks to emotion-nullifying technology, they have enjoyed centuries of peaceful existence, one not even requiring a Green Lantern patrol sector. And then they unexpectedly requested a sector. And one member of the Guardians decided that their unique situation warranted an atypical approach with an atypical Green Lantern, wielding an atypical power ring. Former Terran soldier and police officer Jo Mullen is chosen, and she arrived shortly before the final murder, or the first murder, in a millennium, or in half a millennium, takes place among the trilogy races. These races include a biologically evolved form of carnivorous plant, another biologically evolved aerial pursuit primate, and one of artificially evolved cybernetic symbiotes. The killing solved immediately almost. But since that opening salvo, a virtual cosmic noir has emerged about the hows and whys a civilization without primal emotions might suddenly sink into conflict and unrest. The ruling council, it seems, has implemented digressions from the emotion control because some citizens are obviously more equal than others. Also, in chess moves promoting racial interests before the common good, or for personal power. Joe's exposed some of these inconvenient truths, and a citizen vote is called to determine the future course of the city. Well, in this issue, we see factions jostle for position, with voting made difficult for some Trilogy citizens, and with the threat of conflict looming within the city's military forces. In the end, the fate of 20 billion inhabitants rests in the ringed hand of one very human Green Lantern without core backup. As artist and colorist Jamal Campbell's work is miraculous here, he makes each race distinctive and individuals recognizable while fashioning the city into a complex, enclosed civilization that it should be. You're probably thinking it's kind of a requirement for Cosmic Green Lantern stories to be like this, but no, I don't think I've ever seen anything that looked like this before. A perfect visual companion to the depth that Jemison's given these complex alien beings and their human defender. Darren Bennett's lettering has delineated and refined each of the races in fonts and symbols, although this issue's text is much more forthright out of necessity because there's a lot unfolding. Still, the balloon shapes and the details set in previous issues help it to flow and you to keep track of who's speaking and what's going on. There is a lot happening in number 11, as in a few previous issues. The details fly fast. It's one of the few series where physical books were easier for me to follow than digital copies. Also, if you're a GL fan who feels strongly about established power ring rules, you may dislike this unique approach. It's true, Jemison could just as easily have written the science fiction space adventure for DC without utilizing a Green Lantern, probably. But she provides valid reasons for everything that she's established. Best of all, it is atypical. And what young adult doesn't delight in seeing established rules bent? After 10 issues carefully plotting and Dyson's fear building, the creative team goes all in with number 11. They outline the stakes and undercurrents of what's happened. Lines are drawn, and Joe finds who needs taken in hand, taken to task, and taken into custody. Number 12 can't arrive soon enough for me. Plus, just when I thought, maybe it's just me, maybe I like this better than I should, today Far Sector was selected as a candidate for this year's prestigious FIA Literary Magazine Ignite Award for Best Comics Team.
Wow.
My score for Far Sector number 11 is 8.5 out of 10 in a series that has been mostly hitting the nines all the way through.
Wow. That sounds good. And congratulations on that nomination. That sounds good. And one thing I do want to point out, in case people didn't know, Young Animal is kind of spearheaded by a man named Gerard Way, who, if you are familiar with contemporary music, is the leader of My Chemical Romance. And he's actually...
I don't know if I'd say contemporary.
Well, since they're not around anymore, I guess they only come back for revival every now and then if it weren't for COVID.
But more importantly, Umbrella Academy.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
There you go.
Yeah, and he's been writing comics actually before he made it big in music. He used to do stuff for Boneyard Press, Hart Fisher's outfit.
I do love Black Parade.
Well,
Yes.
Black Parade's amazing.
Black Parade is beautiful.
Which I will say, I always wanted him to incorporate that, like the idea, like I don't know, the artwork of the cover of that album.
Yeah.
I wanted that to be a character in the Umbrella Academy.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted like the Black Parade to be like the ultimate villain that they faced, and it never happened. But man, that would have been so cool. Right, not yet. That'd be great.
Yeah. Now, Brian Hawkins says there is a completely different cover for the second printing of the book that was mentioned earlier by Eric Hawkins. And Ted Davies Artistry says the last Ronin director's cut is out of print. I have the last copy, Rodman.
All right, guys. Cue the heist music. Let's do this.
Yes, welcome to the Michigan job as we all go out to Ted Davies.
That
here.
sounds like a comic book idea. I'm just saying.
It does. And Ted and Carl Wisman says Ted's dark side shows itself. And right after, I guess it was the mention of the sight of us oohing and eyeing over the female Green Lantern. Wow, the testosterone level is getting high. She's putting on her hip boots. We're 4 dudes.
Yeah,
I did like that cover.
Don't feel bad.
Pose.
Nice.
I have my hip boots on already, Carly. So there we go.
Yeah, and from the waist down, Carly, that's all I'm wearing.
And to be honest, the design of that Green Lantern uniform. I think that Joe Mullen she's a soldier and she's a police officer. She has been. And her body type is attractive, but it reflects that she is a soldier. And it's very realistic. And yet that design of the uniform looks like it would be comfortable and functional and cool all at the same time. And so I want to see some people cosplay it. I can't wait to see that. That's just...
Yeah, and I honestly, I was oohing at the design of that, and the fact that she's an independent person and has her own mind. That's what I was after.
Sure,
it reminds me of the Rocketeer.
Oh
yeah.
That's
it does
never
have kind of that
to be reminded of.
Yeah, the buttons and all that stuff. That was pretty cool. Yeah.
So, man, it does sound good. I'm going to be checking out. Hoopla.
I have read Green Lantern for years, and you have Tomari and you have some of the other alien races, and some of them are funny, Gnort, some of them are funny and some of them are interesting, but I have never seen anybody. And again, she's a science fiction award-winning author. So yes, I understand she has some experience with this, but she has made these three races come alive in a very interesting story through the course of this series, like no other Green Lantern story I've ever read. So
that's great. That is great.
You gotta read Carl's.
Yes, I'm getting there. It's pick on Brian Rodman night. I can see Brian Rodman laying on the ground in his AI nebulizer suit on the rocks, while Ted in fedora towers above him, comic held like a rock.
I mean, as long as I have something else that's on the rocks, then we're fine. You know what I mean?
Speaking of which, be sure to tune into Drinking with the Davies, 6 p.m. at the Eastern, 5 p.m. Central on Rising Tide Broadcast Network and the Ted Davies Artistry YouTube channel. The Historical Fencing Guild says the 4 different approaches to your weekly comic book report are fascinating, and Carl Witzman agrees. Well, thank you. That's I think it's one of the strengths of this show. I'm very proud of this show and the 3 gentlemen who co-host it with me, and that we all have different perspectives on these comics and different levels of experience. And
Clyde's very polished, and the rest of us aren't.
Right.
Yeah. The three schlubs. It's like
the rest of you make comics. I have submitted and had accepted with great fanfare stories that have never made it into comics. So
there you go.
Clyde reviews comics. We throw them. That's the difference.
I've yet to throw a comic
here.
I'll
throw this one.
Can I find a comic?
This one.
There you go. This one kind of redeemed itself a little this month.
Oh yes.
It's not a bad cover. It's just poor writing. It's killing this book for me right now. But I'm trying.
What is this 90s Image Comics? I feel like that's a common thread tonight. Is the art is good, the writing's not so great.
Yeah, this comes from Antarctic Press. And I did review it a few weeks ago. The original intent was this was a continuation of the 1940s exciting comics from Nidor that had like the Black Terror and such like that. Follow me if you want to see the Black Terror done correctly. Anyway, but it's titles like Weirdo. It's like you can't decide whether it wants to be a hackneyed origin story or a zombie apocalypse story. Although it was pretty... Yeah, I know zombies, Eric. Get with the program, dude.
Don't be disappointed. There's barely any zombies in issue 3. I don't know.
I won't be buying it then. Anyway,
someone else is they're getting ready to start crowdfunding a Black Terror comic, and I can't remember who it is.
Well, mine's a novel, so
yeah.
But there is one in here that's kind of interesting. Camilo Vallis, I think it is how it's not. I thought it'd be Wallace, but it's Vallis, and it's pretty interesting. And it's about a guy who has found a way to make gravity not affect him.
Interesting.
Yeah, and at least that's what it appears to me. I haven't read it in depth, but
so he can get as fat as he wants, and
Yeah, pretty much. So he's like Herbie Pocknecker,
and the weight would not affect his body at all.
I need to find out his secret.
There you go. And I do like this one. It's towards the end of the book, but he's floating at the ceiling, can't control, so they just pick him up and toss him into the next room. That's unique. I do like that. But the other one is this Big House Blues, and the lead story Weirdo and Big House Blues are both written by Dan Sain, who I'm sorry, I can't. It's slightly improved, but not by much. I still don't know who these characters are. The second one, the Big House Blues, seem to have a little more structure to it, whereas the I'm just not at all impressed with the first one. I've read it before.
So that is your Midnight Western Theater, eh?
Pretty much without the benefit of skeletal horses, though. But there are magazines that make up for it. There's stuff that makes up for it.
Oh, there it is.
Retro Fan Magazine. I'm not. Full disclosure, I'm in one issue. I have an article in it, but this is a Holy Backstage Pass, and it's got articles like Will Murray writing about I Rode with the Green Hornet.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's about Star Trek: The Lean Years by Scott Savada, and Retro Fans Too Much TV quiz. Where you identify various pilots. The Saint in the 60s with Roger Moore. One of my favorite literary characters. And then just a whole melange of great backstage pictures from The Adventures of Superman, CBS variety shows, The Twilight Zone, Fireball XL5, Star Trek, The Outer Limits.
Space Ghost.
Yep.
Yeah, on the back. Awesome.
That seems to be the best part of the book right there.
Yeah. Warner Archive DVD and Blu-ray discs we'd say more about, but Warner ain't sponsoring this show. Get on the ball, people. But anyway, a Retro Fan Magazine comes out, let me make sure, bi-monthly, and it's edited by Michael Urey, who does Back Issue Magazine, and this is always a treat. There's always something really cool in here. And they also have a report on the WWF WrestleFest video game from many years back.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian.
Yes, sir.
Back Issue Magazine,
yes,
the latest issue, got a mention on Doom Rocket as one of their top 5 picks of the week, which a magazine never gets that. But he tapped into their Bronze Age fandom.
Yeah.
And they just raved about this last issue. And I can't remember, there was one particular article that did it, but it was the whole issue. And they said, we don't normally, magazines are just not our pick for this, but this one is. And I was like, and he mentioned Michael. And
yeah. He's a great editor. He's a great guy too. And he came up with an idea for a book years ago called Comics Gone Ape. And it's all about the history of anthropoids in the entire history of comics. And I'm like, facepalm. Why didn't I think of that? That is just so bleeping obvious. And Cindy Kemp says, very interesting, telling her inner Artie Johnson. And the Historical Fencing Guild, Friday nights at 8 p.m., 7 Central, says, Brian, I will send you the PDF of my rough Paul Bunyan Kaiju Slayer so you can throw it. Dude, I am so looking forward to that. I really am. That sounds so good. Ted Davies Artistry says, the Fab Four, bring it again. The Michigan Job is copyright of Ted Davies Artistry. All characters are original and have no resemblance to the Fab Four. What's the matter? Can't you draw us? Anyway, and Carl Wisman mocks him with his laughter. The Historical Fencing Guild says, OMG, I have a cannon used for skeletal horses now. Yeah, and once you go skeletal horse, you never mind. Wait,
that's what she said?
Yeah, I think so.
I need a shower. I'll be back.
Yeah. I feel dirty now. Thank you, Brian. Anyway, but we had a couple of questions early in the show by the very talented and amazing Ryan Permisson, and I'm just going to keep chattering here until I find them, which could be any day now. He had a couple of really good questions, and I think we ought to tackle them. So the first one is, who's your favorite DC character and why? And I'll
I hate
first.
DC.
Okay, Eric's done.
Boo, get out of here.
There's mine. There's mine. Because he represents.
Mine would be one of these three.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be this one.
Hmm.
I've always preferred Superman over Batman.
Yeah, and I grew up on Superman because his comics helped me learn to read, and he had George Reeves on it. It was cool. But I like Superman because the period I grew up, it was always very imaginative, very wild stuff, and it got me hooked into like classic space opera, science fiction prose. And to find out that some of those people like Otto Binder, some of the people I was reading in prose like Otto Binder and Edmund Hamilton were also prolific authors in the comic medium too. That was kind of cool to discover. So mine's probably, for all the talk I make of Metamorpho and other characters, I think Superman is still my character that when he's done right, he's amazing. When he's written by Brian Michael Bendis, not so much. But anyway,
it seems like everybody thinks that way.
Only because it's true.
It might be him.
It could be. That's the theory I'm operating under. So, Clyde, Brian, who are your favorite DC characters, and tell us why, please.
Go ahead, Clyde.
Well, as a segue into the B-list booster show, I mean, we could all say Superman, or we could say Batman, or Wonder Woman, or any of the big three, or some of the Flash. But
or Brother
to be
Power.
honest, the one that, as I got old enough to really read the comics and really enjoy the stories, Wildcat, a member of the Justice Society of America, and just kind of a mystery man with no powers but extreme boxing skills.
Yeah.
Captured my imagination because Bill Finger kind of got gypped out of a lot of credit for Batman, but this was a co-creation of his. And I don't know why, but as a kid even, I got onto that. I understood that. Mm-hmm. Some of the things I read pointed out that he didn't get his due diligence for, or his due credit for Batman. So he's a Bill Finger character that was always attributed to Bill Finger. So I like that. And also he trained younger heroes. Who did Batman go to be trained for boxing in all of his martial arts training? Ted Grant.
Yeah.
Wildcat. He is a living connection and still viable. There's still a Wildcat because he had an immortality sort of thing from being in the Justice Society of America. So he could be the trainer for Black Canary and for the Younger Starman and for others of the legacy characters for the Justice Society, Catwoman, because he didn't have to be Batman with 14 proteges that he gave each of them like 3 months to bring them up. He was around for 80 years to do it and still a viable character. But he's also a link, I think, to pulps. He's a very pulp kind of character. Yeah. Just a very simple character. And yet, when you give him a good writer, you get things like the JSA issue where the Injustice Society of America breaks into the headquarters to steal a thing, and he's the only guy there. Mm-hmm. He's also got a broken arm, and he's naked in a bathtub when they come in.
Friday night.
Yeah. I was going to say, Brian, that was Brian's weekend.
Yeah. And before this issue is done, he has beat most of them into submission. All but one of them, actually. They're made of humans. He doesn't care. They're younger than he is. He doesn't care. He's Wildcat. And, he's a ring general. And he can use that to be a good tactician. Only Captain America, I think, in Marvel has that ability to go, I'm not the toughest guy here, but I am the one that's going to make you really wish you picked a different day to come.
Yeah. Well, and I seem to recall there were a couple of stories where even Superman, said, well, there are times when somebody figures out how to negate my powers. I will need to know how to defend myself. So I went to Ted Grant, to make this happen. So, even the mightiest, superhero in the whole DC universe had to go to Ted Grant to get a little guidance. So, I think that's a very good point about him being like a self-defense mentor to the rest of the DCU. So,
yeah,
very cool, very cool. Okay, and who's next?
Brian.
It would be yeah. So I'm going to cheat a little bit.
Okay.
And I am going to say that it is Morpheus, the Lord of Dreams from the Sandman Neil Gaiman run. He's been brought into more of the mainstream DC stuff now. But the original Vertigo run, to me is tied for my favorite comic book series of all time. Morpheus is complex. He's immortal, so he sees right and wrong differently than people do. And he's not, he could literally capture any hero or villain in the DC universe like that, because he is so powerful. And just the story arc that he had in Neil Gaiman's Sandman run in the late 80s and early 90s was just, it broke new ground for comic creators. It showed us what comics could be. And really spearheaded and inspired so many creators to do the same. And it inspired me to create Memoirs of an Angel in many ways. I would say, other than Morpheus, it's then a two-way. Second place is a two-way tie between Alan Moore's Swamp Thing and John Constantine.
Very good choice.
Good choice. Those three characters, which all kind of live in the Vertigo universe, but yeah, those are my and that says a lot, because obviously, if you want to go like mainstream DC, Batman's my guy. Batman got me into comics. Batman the Animated Series pretty much captivated me all, in every way to comics and movies and TV and whatever you could possibly get into as a nerd. That credit belongs to Batman. So he is my ultimate favorite mainstream. But as far as just the umbrella of DC, I got to go with Morpheus.
Good choices, gentlemen. Good choices. Ryan also had another question, and I think this one is very important. Comics you would recommend for 8 to 12-year-olds. And right now is not a really good time for that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Archie
is still around. They still do print the classic stuff in the digest. Yes, Clyde.
Recent stuff. Go back and get the Wonder imprints from DC. They got Naomi. They got the Wonder Twins. They got Dial H for Hero. And that was some of the most enjoyable, along with the long run of Scooby-Doo team-ups.
Yes. One of the best series in ages. Yeah.
I think if they want something lighthearted and easy to get into, especially it gives more toward the 8-year-olds maybe than the 12-year-olds, but that's a good starting place, I think.
Yeah, I would say along with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Archie comic run, that is honestly what got me into comics more than anything else as a young kid. I still actually went out and found the Future Shark arc series that they did, and it still holds up. It's still really fun and really good, and it has the humor and the tone of the original cartoon series, and it still holds up today. So I would absolutely recommend. You can find all of them on Comixology if you can't find them in bookstores, but they have them on Amazon and in volumes and stuff like that too. But yeah, that would be my pick.
Yeah,
I might have to take Archie back.
Okay.
Because wasn't there Archie Predator crossover where the Predator killed Archie?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it might not be child appropriate. But I mean, when I was getting it, the digest, it was fine.
It was a great comic. It was fun. It was. But also, like, what is it? Afterlife with Archie?
That's
yeah. That was a pretty grisly title.
Yeah, and then the spinoff was the new Sabrina series as well.
Right. Oh, and that's dark as hell. That really is. That's you read
Vampironica.
Vampironica.
Yes.
The Hunger,
werewolf.
The Hunger, with Junkhead, the werewolf. Yeah. But there was also before that, like Archie and Batman 66, which would be it's more nostalgic, but it would be okay for kids.
Yeah, and I think it's IDW, I believe it is, or Boom, is doing like a younger reader's version of the Avengers and Star Wars. That might be very age appropriate. I wish Archie would reprint more of their non-Archie stuff, because when I was growing up, and the thing is, these stories were written first by Robert Bernstein, who was one of the regular Superman writers, and he succeeded Larry Lieber as writer on Thor and Iron Man too, before Stan Lee took it back up. But they had characters like the Fly Girl, no relation to the In Living Color dance troupe, and the Jaguar. That were written for kids. I would say at an 8 to 12 year level, because I was younger than that, and I was still enjoying them. But they were very simple adventures. The art on a lot of them isn't very flashy, but they read very well. Even to this day, the only problem is the reason I want them reprinted is that. The comics they're in, of course, the classic Archie comics like Pep and Laugh and their own titles can be quite costly anymore, unless you get like a reader copy. It's been through the washing machine a few times. But I remember, what was it? DC has tried several, and some of them are reasonably priced. Like, it was a young reader Supergirl title. Billy Batson and the Power of Shazam. I really liked. Franco and Balthazar, two of my favorite creators, did the writing on that one. And DC has had some younger reader stuff, but the problem is a lot of comic book retailers just don't respect those books and order them, because not all of them recognize that we've got to train the next generation to come in. And like, we all had gateway comics that appealed to us when we were younger. That but read.
Most of the mainstream comics back then were age appropriate for anyone.
Yeah, that's true. Thanks.
Yeah, nowadays I don't know how many of them I let my little kids read, or grandkids. All the kids are grown.
Brian, sorry, Eric, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to ask, Brian, what age do you think what was it, the book you reviewed last week or the week before, with the Superboy and Damian?
Super Sons.
Oh, Super Sons. Yeah. Challenge of the Super Sons.
Yeah.
That is one I would let an 8 to 12-year-old try reading. There, because after we gloss over the part that Damian was trained to be a murderer, aside from that little detail,
I watched, Batman the Animated Series had Ra's al Ghul in it, and he was, rising from the dead. So I watched that when I was 8.
Just a guy that wanted to commit genocide. Nothing.
I would say early teens.
Yeah.
The kids maybe not. But early teens should be fun.
17 plus, young animals, for the young adult group.
Is that because of the booty on the cover?
Yeah. No, it's because there's some bad words, and there's also, like in Far Sector at least, there is some looking at society's underbelly that it gets pretty raw.
Yeah.
Not with nudity or anything like that, but just the realistic social issues amongst these three alien races. It's It is not pleasant, and they also, they destroyed each other's home worlds originally. So a lot of violence.
And no matter what age you are, don't get this.
Unsafe at any age.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Now, but at the same time, if you want to wait for about a month, Ryan.
There you go. Now Clyde's got the answer.
Oh, there you go. Either get Spencer.
That one's autographed.
Here you go. Get Spencer Spook now, and then in a month, get the nebulizer.
I actually,
Kickstarter,
my
because
wife
that
just
is-
asked me.
Yeah.
What age group would that be for?
This age group.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
it's middle school humor. Not when I say middle school humor, like it's fine for kids is what I'm trying to say.
And my first
There you
all
go.
poop jokes.
Yeah,
Good.
I'm just like I'll just don't put it. Yeah, it's fine for 8 to 12-year-olds. Yeah, it's
And good for kids with asthma.
awesome for kids with asthma for
There's
sure.
your
man.
marketing.
Made by a kid with asthma. So there you go, man.
Oh, and Carl Wisman says a few minutes ago, look, those were the rails we just left. And Carleen says, there were rails?
Yeah, what rails?
Look,
What are you
Carl-
talking about?
How have you watched this show? And from the desk of a small press publisher, hello, Joe D. McPhee. Check this man out. Sign up for his YouTube channel and watch him tomorrow morning as he becomes the new host of Never Mind the Furthermore for one episode. But anyway,
Or more.
thank you, Joe. Please tune in tomorrow and please support Joe D. McPhee. Please support from the desk of a small press publisher. He's told me what he's got lined up for tomorrow, and it's really cool. So please support this wonderful man. And
Free
Archie,
Ferraris, that's what I heard, right?
that's right. That you
Yeah,
get a
man.
Ferrari, you get a Ferrari, but he'll be pointing at the screen, and it's a mirror, so he's going to buy himself some Ferraris.
He's living his best life now.
Yes, he
Yes.
is, and it's thanks to the Rising Tide Network. And Archie is still around. Yeah, you can still get the classic Archie in,
Digest size.
in the digest size, in the supermarkets mostly. The only thing is, there's not a whole lot if they want to watch, say they're watching Arrow with their parents for some ungodly reason.
But don't watch Riverdale on the CW. That is not for kids.
No,
Yeah.
it is not.
Yeah, if you watch
Yeah.
CW with your young children, 8 to 12, we will call Family Protective Services on you.
Flash isn't bad. I don't.
No, Flash isn't.
Flash is fine. And
But-
like Smallville, I watched
Smallville was fine. Yeah, I
Oh,
would
yeah,
let
that was
I would let a
fun.
kid watch Smallville, but Riverdale's smutty.
Stargirl.
Stargirl was fine.
Stargirl, yeah.
That's a great one. That's a great one. And Historical Fencing Guild has a wonderful comment here. Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
It's a great start. I actually had the first 100 or so before the fire. Yeah, that was a solid read. And in fact, what was it? A number of the Archies were, even up until like the early aughts were solid all ages entertainment. And you can still find them because Archie does keep a lot of that stuff in print.
Yeah.
So Ted Davies Archery says, thanks for all you gentlemen scholars. Great show, but I must promote. Well, it's about time, young man. Have a great weekend. Be safe and stay nerdy. No problem there, brother. And good luck with the launch of Grim 101. And for Sunday. Beautiful, the US 30 drag strip. Years ago, this is a little aside here. We were driving through northern Indiana on the way back from where Cookie's parents live, and I saw a little sign off the side of the road for US 30 drag strip, and I kept hearing those ads from WLS in Chicago. Sunday, beautiful US 30 drag strip where the great ones run, and Cookie is like, why are you so excited? What is wrong with you? And it's like, But anyway, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur would be what the desk of a small press publisher would be what he recommends. If not that, Sonic the Hedgehog by Archie Comics. That is true. That is true. Yeah, I like that. There's just there's not enough, I should say, coming out from the big guys right now. Clyde, yes, sir.
Ryan, didn't Ryan last week ask about omnibuses? If we had any omnibuses?
Yes. What omnibuses might we recommend? Because Ryan is trying to constantly improve his pop culture IQ, I guess you would call it. And
I asked my local comic shop, Colossus Comic and Games in Mount Vernon, Illinois, where I purchased Far Sector and all of my floppy comics. When you think of Colossus, remember all roads lead to their shop. Okay, so I asked them about what omnibuses, what people look for, and he had a very good answer. He said that omnibuses are so expensive. They're usually about $100. They're very big.
Yeah.
That he has to have an order. He does not stock them. They're just too expensive for him. And then I got to thinking, when was the last time I actually read an omnibus? I read TPBs all the time and stuff, but where did I get the omnibus I read? It was The Walking Dead Compendium, number one, volume 1.
Yeah.
The first 48 issues of The Walking Dead from Image. I got it from the library because it was free.
Yeah.
And I got to read all that. And so I looked up on my local library, which is not even a part of Hoopla, it's just regular, how many graphic novels that they had it, which includes that sort of size. 943 access to in this whole system. So again, a way to check and see what you want before you put down that kind of money. Maybe see what your local library has.
Yeah, and some of them might be able to get it if they don't stock it themselves. A lot of libraries belong to kind of like a common lending system, like I used to like interlibrary
share. Ours is
share.
share, and that's where the 943 number comes from.
So definitely a lot of people don't think of libraries as much as they probably should. And when you were mentioning that, Clyde, I remember I got turned on to the series Invincible by Robert Kirkman, and I read all of them at the Tippecanoe County Public Library System through the omnibuses that Image released of all of them. And it had like the extra art, script pages, commentary by Robert Kirkman and the artists. And I certainly wasn't going to plunk down 100. I think they were like 80 at the time, but I wasn't going to plunk down that sort of stuff on something I thought I might like. I'd like some guarantees with this. So, but that's an excellent idea, Clyde. Very, very good.
That Walking Dead Compendium was great. I mean, it got me in. They were just starting the show, the TV show then, and it got me completely up to where I wanted to be. I didn't go on and read it from there, but it certainly was a great introduction to that world. And those first 20 issues especially, very strong, very silent, like an Aftermath world might be until you run into trouble. But it was very impressive. So that's my pick.
Wow. I would say, Ryan, especially if you're trying to kind of explore what pop culture has been over the last decade, I think the book to get would be Saga, the Saga omnibus that's out right now. And honestly, it's one of the best comic books in the last decade. It was when we hit 2020, before it was like the end of 2019. One of my picks for the best comic of the last 10 years was Saga. It is everything from Star Wars to Game of Thrones. It talks about real issues. It's really, really good. It's just phenomenal writing, and Fiona Staples is amazing with her line art and her colors. So yeah, if there was one omnibus that I could point you to, it would be Saga. It is not for children. It is not for children at all, but it is an amazing story.
Eric, what would you recommend?
Well, like last week I said, if the Marvel Handbook is out there in omnibus form, I would definitely get that, especially if you want to know about Marvel.
It just came out. Came out. And DC has just released their omnibus version of their version of the handbook.
Okay. Because I remember getting that as a kid and getting all the issues.
Yeah.
And it was just, and you wouldn't think that'd be something you wanted to read, but you did. I mean, it was just a picture and a bunch of words.
Yeah.
Not a bunch of pictures and little words, but I always enjoyed that, and I if I wanted to turn someone on to that, I would. But Walking Dead, they got great those great big old books out. Oh, there's got to be some X-Men ones out there. I tend to lean toward Marvel quite a bit. Yeah, but they're so expensive. I don't look at them a lot. I mean, I'll pick up trade paperbacks and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely something like that. I would definitely get Watchmen.
Oh yeah.
I would love that, and or something. And these won't run you a lot of money, but you'll get a lot of history and a lot of story. My favorite. This is by far my favorite Frank Miller story of all time. It's Daredevil Born Again. I mean, it's everything.
You know, I would even say they have the Frank Miller omnibus of Daredevil, and it is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Grandchild.
Hello, grandchild.
Hello there. Good to see you.
He can't hear you. But also, definitely this one by Barry Windsor Smith. I mean, I have the single issues. I have the hardback as well as the Wolverine Origin. I have like 2 different hardbacks. I have all the issues and all that stuff. Yeah.
Eric, do you know if there's a Chris Claremont omnibus?
I think there is. I think
Is
Marvel's
there,
put out 2
Brian?
or 3 of them. I know they had a series of them where they spotlight a career like Stan Lee or Jack Kirby or John Byrne. And I know that there is a Claremont one. I know there's Frank Miller. Too. So, and in some of these cases, more than one.
Yeah, the Frank Miller there are 3 Frank Miller Daredevil omnibus, and they're great because it picks up the first issue that he drew but didn't write is where the omnibus starts, and then it goes in. I think he did that for a few issues, and then he started writing and drawing the whole thing. So
yeah, and
something that's less of an omnibus but more of a trade paperback that I don't hear recommended a lot, and I really like the series. It's one of the few series I got all of it, 50 issues. Starman, DC's Starman.
Yeah.
Where
by James Robinson.
By James Robinson. The advent of the son of a superhero to become the superhero against his will, and includes every Starman ever written by DC. And there's a lot of them, a lot of different Starman variations, and it's just one of those series that I just thought it was brilliant at the time, and it doesn't get mentioned very often, and it's beautiful artwork. I think it's worth picking up.
Yeah. I would say this: if you're willing to spend, a pretty penny. I already mentioned this guy, but this is the omnibus, the leather-bound omnibus. I have all 3 of these because I don't like money, but I love comics, and I mean it's so nice. I mean, I feel like every time I open this guy up, I just feel like magic is happening, and like I feel like the words are just gonna start illuminating from it. But yeah, no, this is in my opinion, this is when I spend money on an omnibus. Because if I'm going to spend 75 plus on a book, it's going to look like this as opposed to just a flimsy, paperback. So I've got like the library editions of Sandman and Hellboy, which the Hellboy ones are like cloth bound and just beautiful. Yeah. So yeah, I would highly recommend if you're going to spend money on an omnibus.
do you see whose art this is?
Oh, it's you
can see.
Oh, yeah.
I have told Robin that I want that very statue so much, but I want
this
the one that's black and white.
This one?
Not that one, but like
these are the $6 minis of the black and white statue.
I don't want that. I want the actual black and white statue, and it's too much money. I can't reconcile getting that right now.
The other things I've seen lately that I would love to spend the money on. So if anyone, here's my Christmas list.
Yes, if you love us and you love the information we're giving it to you,
PO box down below.
Right.
Yeah.
Screw all the Patreon accounts on this panel. Just buy us books.
That's right.
These art editions that are coming out. They're the full size 11 by 17 art. Scanned originals. The Jim Lee one, I just want to get so bad.
I have it. Ooh. Yes. It's so.
I hate you.
Robin got it for me, and it is beautiful. I can't wait to be at the same show as that man one day, and I will get him to sign the crap out of it. And hopefully he'll do what he normally does when he sees cool things to sign. He draws a little picture a lot of times too.
I've gotten a few of his signatures.
Oh yeah,
I've met him a couple times. Yeah, but
yeah, I've heard he's a really nice guy.
Little guy, but he's a really nice guy. Yeah,
He is.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because of the because I do reviews, and I got to see some things as a preview. Gene Colan's art for, oddly enough, for Captain Marvel, the 1960s Captain Marvel stuff.
Yeah,
some of the other things.
Artists on that, yeah.
Yeah. I always thought the comics left me as a kid to be kind of, and then as I looked at it later on, I was like, no, he's the guy that does Dracula. He doesn't need to be doing space stuff. It's okay, but it's just not his thing. Then I saw his line art from a sample like that. And oh my gosh, he was robbed by inking and colorists that did not represent very well his art, his line work. So yes, if you can get some line work by some of your artists, it'll give you a whole new appreciation for a lot of them, especially like that. It was beautiful. It just makes me cry that it ended up looking like it did, which was serviceable, but nothing special.
Yeah. And the Historical Fancy Guild has a good question here. What is the difference between omnibuses and trade paperbacks?
Size.
And expense. Trade paperbacks are about the size of a standard comic book, but they are also the width of, say, 3 to 12 issues, and usually reprint like either with a theme or a sequence.
Miniseries or story arc, something small.
Yeah. Exactly. Whereas the omnibuses are usually printed in archival paper, and a lot of them are published in the size of the original art. For years, there's one, they're harder than heck to find now, because they're no longer making them. But Russ Cochran, back in the 70s, started a series of EC reprints, like Tales from the Crypt, Mad, Panic. There's science fiction stuff, and in slip cases. And the thing is, what William Gaines, the original publisher of Mad Magazine, he kept all the original art. So that's what they shot it from. Cool. And they had annotation and everything. And of course, then we have the Zombiful World of Oz edition, the omnibus edition. There we go. There's only one, however, and Eric happens to own it.
Hey, these are artist proofs for issue 2, 11 by 17.
Nice.
They'll be selling at Big River Comic Con if you show up. These are the interior pages.
That's right. And if you don't show up, you're screwed. And people will mock you.
This is as close as you'll get to even seeing them.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes. Oh, hey, there's one of Brian's pages right there.
Nice.
I may have to put a bid for that one. Well, it's funny because I've had several comic book stories published. I don't own the art of too many of them.
That's about to change.
It may change this weekend. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. No, I gave the cover to someone else for that Spencer Spook, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Darn it!
Yep.
Hunt them down.
Well, we know where he is. He doesn't like me anymore. So
that's why I said someone. I didn't mention his name.
All right, guys. Cue the heist music.
That's right. Yeah. As soon as we're done with Ted, then we're heading south.
Then we're going to Brian's to get my Jim Lee book. Then we're going to the other place.
Wait, no, you can't do that. I'm in the group. No, I would say the best way to describe the difference between an omnibus and a trade paperback is an omnibus would fill it has about 5 trade paperbacks in it.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So it's
50 issues usually.
Yeah.
It's more biblical.
Yeah.
Yes.
There we go.
Well done. Yeah, more care is taken in production of these books, and they are I want to say disproportionately priced to one another, but then again, it as someone once told me, it just costs a little extra to fly first class.
Well, it was like the one Brian showed. It was leather bound, probably sewn as well instead of glue.
Yeah, the binding is. I mean, it's all very well. The quality is excellent, and the Hellboy, my Hellboy library editions, I keep out in the living room. When people walk in, we have a big bookshelf right there.
Under glass case with lights and laser beams around it.
Armed guards,
If you cross these, you will die. No, like they are. Like I said, they're cloth bound. They're extra. They're coffee table size books.
Yeah.
So they're an omnibus is a collector's item. A trade paperback is just you want to read a story arc, so you buy it. You buy a book that comes from a series that's kind of put in a graphic novel form.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Carl Wiston says like a collector's edition book. I wouldn't call these omnibuses, but like back, this would have been back in the 90s. DC released hardbound, again, sewn spines rather than just glued, and kind of puffy faux leather outsides for the greatest Joker stories ever told, the Dark Knight, the original Dark Knight Returns, and I want to say they also did the greatest Batman stories ever told. This is right afterwards.
And Marvel was doing that too with the Masterpiece?
Yeah, they had like a Masterpiece series that unfortunately they stopped doing.
Anytime you say that word, I just say it's Masterpiece.
Yeah, instead of Alistair Sim, it's Stan Lee, though. Hey, believers, thanks for joining us on a Sunday night, So
Masterpiece Theater, Excelsior.
Which, by the way, I believe they also have like I'm just about to say Masterpiece, but like higher end omnibuses of like some of the early Spider-Man by Steve Ditko and Fantastic Four by Jack Kirby. I would also recommend people get a hold of those simply because those are the building block in Fantastic Four, because that's the building blocks of what we now call the Marvel Universe. So,
and you'll never get the originals.
No.
Even these omnibus editions are far more affordable than any one of the comics they are reprinting. So.
I got the really nice hardback omnibus of the first I don't know how many years of Daredevil. When it first came out, and so and that it was really nice. That one wasn't too pricey. That was around like $40, maybe $45, and it captures all the early years where you will never see an individual in your hands unless you're doing something illegal or you're very rich.
Or if you're that rich, you've already got slapped is the thing. Right. Historical Fencing Guild says, wow, so given the price spike on floppies, it might be worth it to go omnibus.
Maybe, depending on the book.
Yeah, it depends on the book.
Yeah, you're not going to see a lot of contemporary stories.
Don't go for the Image omnibus. I wouldn't go that way. I'd just go to the $1 or the 50-cent bin and get those.
Yeah. The only one I would recommend one, and that's Invincible by Robert.
I'll go back early stuff.
I was gonna say 90s Image, yes. Now Image, like Saga is Image Comics. So is Walking Dead.
Image is so much different than what I remember in the 90s with Lee, McFarlane, Liefeld.
Now we joke about that, fellas.
Dale Kiln.
Yeah.
We joke about this, fellas. However, I have a signed Spawn number 1.
I've probably got like 10 of those, but none of them are signed.
Right? Yeah, I know. It's so funny because the first when I showed that to my parents, they were both like, "Oh my gosh, how much is that worth?" I was like, "I don't know, probably like 50 cents." I was like, "The signature is what it's to me it's sentimental. I don't know how many Spawn number 1s were put out in stores. There's probably still Spawn number 1s in comic book stores.
There's millions of them.
Yeah, I've got Wildcats number 1. Jim Lee, he signed it for me. I had I forget which was it 11, 9, 11. Chris Claremont. I got one signed by Chris Claremont because he wrote 2 issues of that. But they're not worth anything. It's like I got all these Spider-Man number 1s from when McFarlane Spider-Man came out. I give them away to people because it says number 1 collector's edition. It says they think it's worth money. I'm like, no, it's just kind of a cool book. Will look cool on the wall, but you ain't going to sell it for nothing.
Yeah, like this one, like I got my friend gifted me this. It's just a random Spider-Man issue. But this
cool.
part down here is not so random. I got the
I know
Man
that
the Man's
signature.
autograph.
You won't believe
on
what
here.
I have his signature on.
I've got a couple.
Is it tattooed on your boob?
Not there, but it's sometimes it's initials and then sometimes it's the full name, depending on what else he's looking at. But anyway,
Probably the last. Well, what did I miss? Because I had to take these off to get over to the corner.
Nothing at all.
Nothing
We professed our love and mutual respect for you.
Yeah, just a little slander.
I cannot see it.
Wonder Woman, the Stanley Wonder. Oh, let me get full screen
the
on
Stan
that.
Lee. Oh,
That'll
okay.
help.
The Stan Lee Wonder Woman. That's
on the
awesome.
DC book.
That is excellent.
Beautiful.
By my favorite artist, Jim Lee, as well. My brother got this when Stan was in Wizard World, and I wasn't able to go, so it was awesome. So awesome. I keep it in a frame on the wall.
Yeah. I've got like 1, 2, 3 plus boxes sitting in the corner of the office. That's nothing but autographed books.
Yeah.
One of these episodes, I ought to just pull those things out.
I will. Since we're talking about it, this is. I don't think I've shared this on this show before. This is my prized possession. This book is about. It's about Batman the Animated Series. And I got Kevin Conroy to sign.
Awesome!
Okay, hang on.
Oh, here we go. Show and tell.
Get the yardstick out.
Yeah. So but what was so cool is he wrote on there. It says to Brian, I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman. And it's just such
that's cool.
Yeah, he was such a nice guy. It was so funny. We were both. It was a Saturday night at Indiana Comic Con a few years ago. Both of us. Oh gosh.
I can't tell you whose signatures are on here. I didn't get them. A friend of mine got them at C2E2.
Wow.
He just took the program, went down Artist Alley, and had everybody sign it.
Oh wow, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's really.
But like I said, I don't know who's on here. I don't know if there's anyone big on here at all.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of cool with all the signatures.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
Let me go full screen on it.
Oh man.
Neil Gaiman, he was doing a signing in Champaign, Illinois.
Oh, that's so cool. Peanut butter and jealous. That's what I am right now.
And I also got him to sign my copy of first edition hardcover American Gods.
Oh, dude. Well done.
Thank you. And then a compendium of short stories, including like Nancy Collins, Clive Barker, Tori Amos, Robert Rodai, Gene Wolfe, George Alec Effinger, Will Shetterly, Tad Williams, a whole bunch of other wonderful people. But I also have his.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Now here
if you're ever flying any place, and if there's something any kind of like a bookstore there in the terminal.
Oh yeah,
it never hurts to check out a Neil Gaiman section because he goes through and signs those sometimes.
Oh really? Oh,
he does.
Yeah, from the Ballet to the Batcave and Beyond by Yvonne Craig.
Oh wow, she has very beautiful handwriting.
Oh my goodness, yes.
My goodness.
And this
that's what Brian was thinking when she signed it too.
Yeah. Great handwriting. Yeah. And then I've got this book here, which is kind of cool. Let me see if I can find it quickly. Oh yeah, here we go.
Oh, so cool. Julie Neymar.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and of course the crowning achievement of my collection, of course, I'm going to reveal it for the very first time on this show. It is Celebrity Ghost Hunters #1, signed by Jimmy Starr, Ron Russell, Ellen Shapiro, Kadrolsha Ona, and Eric Hawkins.
Oh my gosh. That'll put your kids through college right there, folks.
I'll buy the whole college just for this, you know. You know what I'm saying? I own eBay now. So
I see my printer buddies on the back there.
Oh yeah.
Comics Wellspring.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah. There we go. Happy to give them a shout out there.
Indeed.
Do great work. God, I just got an email from them today regarding just like a little PDF for indie creators on the do's and don'ts of creating comics.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. And here we go. Cindy Cap says, I have a terrific signature from the author of the original Skyman battles the Master of Steam.
I will have those same signatures after Imaginarium because I'm going to bring my Brian K. Morris collection with me. Well, and have just the sign fest. It's going to be great.
I'm insisting you bring Memoirs of an Angel and all you've got because we're going to do some stuff here. And Carl Wisman says, well, I've got signed copies of BKM books, so there. Ha roasting your own inadequacies, people.
I don't know how this happened.
Oh, my gosh.
But, oh, there it is. It's like, there's nothing in here. Then I turn another page. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
I was like, I know I had him sign it. Did he sign it? Give it 2015.
Wow.
He's got an original copy, dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Brian, when you sign my copies, I wish for you to also write a dirty limerick in there. Of your choice, of course.
Oh, ask and ye shall receive.
I wouldn't have asked that.
It'll make it that much better for me. I think Santa Stein would be a wonderful copy to have that dirty limerick in the front.
That's true, and travel broadens the mind, so it's a good way to learn about Nantucket. So anyway, and Carlene has one of mine too. Apparently, I am a signing hoe. So
Brian's just like, give me whatever. I don't care. I didn't do this, but I'll sign it anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's like I see some artists that or writers actually it shows who charge for their signature, and I've always been, hell, I'll carry it to your car for you. It's like, let me show my appreciation for your support. Heavens,
right? Yeah, it was funny. Ted Ted Davies, when he backed Memoirs of an Angel issue 7, he's like, will you sign it, please? I was like, of course. I was like, I'm going to sign all of them because I love you all so much.
Do you ask people if they want them signed, or you just sign them?
I just sign them.
That's what I do too.
I just sign them. You know what? It's a part of the Kickstarter experience. I'm at the numbers right now where I'm not like Kaylin Smith, my friend Kaylin. Like she will. That will be like a reward tier because she sells hundreds.
Yeah.
And like I could see that would be a lot of books to sign. But I'm not there yet. So I'm at the point where I sign all. Absolutely. No problem.
Yeah.
Brian K. Morris was the first person that I ever saw selling them that would charge more if they weren't signed. So mine are all signed.
That's true. You save
$20.
Sign your books. Yeah. Oh, and Carl Witzman says, and Patricia Tallman of Babylon 5 and Star Trek signed her book for Carl Witzman, and he's drooling. Don't get it on that ink, Carl. Keep it wholesome. And Cindy Cap, there once was a bird in a cage who liked to read words on a page. Every day she would read all the news she would need, and she knew what was then all the rage.
Nice.
I love you, Cindy. CKOEPPP. CKOEPP.
Witness the talent. Witness the talent of Cindy Cap. Go to CKOEPP.com. Yeah, sorry, I got tongue tied. She's writing on the edge, and she's fantastic. I can't wait for that comic of Animal Eye. It's going to be amazing.
That is going to be, I have looked at the first issue because I'm one of her Patreon supporters, which you can be too. And I got to read the first issue, and it is, ooh la la. It is good stuff. And it's all ages. Yeah. It's appropriate for all ages. So definitely keep your eye on Cindy Cap. She is worth following. She's adorable. We love her. So, And it looks like we got through all of our subjects tonight, kids. We done good.
In just a little over 2 hours, we killed this thing.
Yeah, it's like we should do this regularly. And next week, though, will be different because, one, I'll be broadcasting for my in-laws. And two, it will be in double digits. It will be our 10th episode.
Ooh. Well, we should do something fun for that one, like
as opposed to anything else we've done, right?
Right, that's true. That was poor choice of words. Why don't we open it up to and if you don't like this idea, you can nix it. But why don't we open this up to our wonderful viewers as to what they think we should talk about or do next week, since it's our 10th week.
Tell you what, they can send us suggestions and we'll consider them. Or ask us anything next week.
Ooh, that'd be an interesting show.
Yeah. So
Eric's like, oh no.
Oh hell no. Yeah. Eric's like, I saw that episode of Clever Tile Penning with Brian. Oh no.
Oh
no.
Gosh. I still laugh. Just giggle to myself occasionally when I think about that episode. It was so funny. My goodness.
It turned out amazingly well despite the lousy guests they had on that night. That was the March 2nd episode.
It was so good.
Review each other's comics.
Interesting.
Ooh. Yeah. Now Clyde doesn't really have a comic, do you, Clyde?
So Clyde's like, I'll just review all of yours, and you'll all get 2 out of 10.
Okay, I'm mixing that idea right now. No, oh hell no.
Let me sharpen my editing tools.
Right, yeah. Sharpen his blade over there. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, it won't hurt.
There'll be so many Post-its you won't believe it.
That's right, yeah.
No, like I was saying, I submitted one comic book story, which the publisher was like, "Oh yes, you have anything more? Yeah, okay." And I sent them some prose work, like in between stories, or like in Della Prose things that Brian had done, where it's a comic book character but a prose story, and they were all accepted, and artwork was done for some of them, and
Yeah.
I've done artwork for stuff that's never been published.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, same with me. With me. I've written slews of comic stories where, I've got to have it now. And then I bust my hump to get the deadline met. And then I'm like, I'm so glad you did this. This is great. And as soon as I publish my 587 other stories that lead into yours, I'll publish yours. And
see, I heard so many of those stories that you guys just said that I just didn't do any of that. I've only written and drawn for myself, other than commissions and a couple of anthologies. I knew the person that I was working with.
I've done it once, where I drew something and it just never went anywhere. But I've turned in some submissions to Marvel, and years ago those came back, said you shouldn't even own a pencil. So, they were brutal.
I have to say, I used to submit script ideas to Marvel because that was back before they became a closed house.
Yeah, well, they're almost all closed now. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, but I used to get like the standard, thank you for sending us, but this does not meet our requirements right now, which is code for standards. But I did get one. I still have it. It was from the Jim Shooter era. And it said, Brian, we read your script and we really enjoyed it. Now, normally we send out a boilerplate letter that is for just general submissions. And then we have another boilerplate letter for people who we think are almost there and we want to see more efforts from them. You are getting the boilerplate letter that we want to see more from you. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting the better boilerplate letter.
Yeah.
And I'm I'm getting there, man. I'm getting there.
The nicest rejection letter I ever got was from Peter Samedi at Alterna Comics.
Really?
It was so encouraging. He said, he's like, hey, because it was for memoirs and they specialize in miniseries. Right. That's not what memoirs is. At all. so he said that, he was like, this doesn't really match what we're doing. He said, however, I love your artwork. I think you're a good writer. submit me something else. And down the road I will. He was very, very nice, and it was weird because I hadn't felt, it was the nicest I'd ever felt being rejected.
Yeah.
But he was just so polite and so encouraging, to continue to send him something else next time. And I was like, oh, cool. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, wasn't it Winston Churchill who once said that diplomacy is the art of telling someone to go to hell and then make them look forward to the journey?
Right. Yeah, I was at work when this was a few years ago. I was at work when I read the rejection letter, and I said something to my coworkers in the tech shop, and they all looked at me and they were like, he just totally broke up with you and now you're happy. It's like, well, he didn't break up with me, but yeah, they were comparing it to like ending a relationship. But I'm like, oh, this is fine. There's hope.
We can still be friends.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah.
I'm just going to mute you on Facebook, not block you.
It's not me, it's you.
Right.
And we've got some suggestions. Historical Film Fencing Guild says review each other's comics. That's a possibility. This one gives me pause where Carly is going, anything? Ooh, yeah, anything. Let's revisit the debacle that was March 2nd. And y'all are the bomb diggity. Cindy, mwah, you are bomb diggity-icious. And Clyde judges whose review is best. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
And Clyde will say all three of you are losers. But anyway, and Carly is making a list, and I'm starting to clench.
You guys shouldn't even buy comics.
The clinch list.
You're not worthy of reading comic books.
That's right. Why are you four grown-ass men still reading funny books? That's the question we dread. All jokes aside, from the Historical Fencing Guild, an episode dedicated to helping aspiring creators. I still like that. And
like that
holy
too.
crap, says Carl Witzman. He's thinking of that list. Yeah, so
You know what I say to people that look at folks like us and say, you're a grown ass man. Why are you I look at them and say, my ass hasn't grown in years. I don't know what you're talking about. All right.
Mine gets bigger and smaller all the time.
Yeah.
That's right.
Here we go. All right, we got to do this now.
Oh, look at you two stylists.
Oh, you're bigger than mine.
Wow.
I beg your pardon. Oh,
Oh yeah, you got me. I need some wax though.
Brian.
That's the best I can do.
Yeah, I've got my beard, my mustache wax in the other room.
So. Oh my goodness!
What has this show become, guys? I'm not.
Really. Now we've got we're bringing it back into the fold here as Carl Witzman. Well, oh holy crap, that wasn't it. And the Historical Fencing Guild says, seriously, what is the age limit on fun?
Exactly.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you so much. And more rails back there. We're not even close to being on the rails, but I of all the ideas, I think I do like this one to help aspiring creators. So yeah, if any of you have any ambitions to be doing this sort of thing, we can tell you. And Carly says, and now you've got my attention. Uh-oh. Look out. We look forward to it, Carly. But yeah, no, maybe we can have an episode. Maybe next episode we'll talk about what we see that not just independent creators. Because I've backed some really stinky Kickstarters as of late. I'm sorry to say when I got them, but even the more mainstream titles, because like I said, I had issues, so to speak, with this. And Antarctic Press has been around, what was one of the absolute very first independent comic book publishers, and consistently publishing since the 80s, I think. Yeah, at least the 90s. And they're still publishing stuff like what I found disappointing. And like Brian had the comic tonight that has the ice cold lettering. and the incomprehensible script, and maybe that's something that we should address.
But the artwork's really pretty.
Well, there we go. That's all we need. Hey, I know. Get that copy. Get a copy of what Brian Rodman has recommended tonight, people, and a bottle of Whiteout, and then make your own comic book dialogue that
comic
makes
book Mad Libs. That
there we
sounds
go.
great. Yes,
now, one that makes at least a lick of sense. Okay.
See, then you're still supporting Behemoth, which published a not good comic. I'm torn.
That's why I've said for years, I when I find a comic that I have stopped enjoying, tell your local comic person, pull it off, take it off my pull list. Yeah. Don't buy it anymore, because otherwise, if you buy it and you say, "Well, I'm not even going to read it. It sucks." They don't know that at the publishing end. All they know is they sold you a comic book.
Yeah.
So there's there is a deficiency in fandom I could address, and because I was that guy who bought the issues like, boy, I've been buying this book for 5 years and I'm waiting for it to get better again. Brian looks like he needs wooden shoes to tiptoe through the tulips in. Boom, full circle from the Historical Fencing Guild. This is why he has his own show Friday nights at 8 p.m. 7 p.m. Central. Historical Fencing Guild. Learn how to kill each other safely. So,
speaking of killing each other, I think Cookie's looking at you like you better get off there.
How did you know? Right, she's sitting there going.
I saw the reflection in your glasses.
Oh, jeez, the old James Bond trick. Oh my God. So why don't we do that? So these three will be back next week. It will be the post-mortem episode for Brian Morris. So why don't we go around the room? We'll start with Eric Hawkins, because he has a message to deliver. I know.
Indeed.
Like where he's going to be this weekend.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Going to be at the same show as me. Chaos shall ensue. So anyway, let's go around the room and tell everybody how they can stay in touch with us, and God knows they will want that.
Hey, Big River Comic Con in Hamilton, Missouri, tomorrow and Saturday. I'll be there with issues of Zombiful World of Oz, number 1 and 2, doing commissions. I'll have original art with me. I'll have original pages from issue 2 for sale of the Zombiful World of Oz. And I have most of the variants with me. And now's the time to come see me, because I don't have a lot of issues of number 1 left. I've got about probably less than 40. So come see me there. And on Monday morning, we'll launch Zombiful World of Oz number 3, Dark Side of the Moon, on Kickstarter. You can go out to Kickstarter, look me up, or follow me on any social media. You've seen my links for the pre-launch page. We've got 71 followers right now, which would be great if they all convert instantly to backers, because they'll get me funded like that. That's what I'm looking forward to. But because I want to get this funded, get this one out so I can get on with the next one.
There we go.
That's it.
All right. Thank you very much, Eric S. Hawkins. You were awesome as always. And speaking of awesome as always, Clyde Hall, how can people keep up with you?
You can catch me tomorrow on Back Issue Breakfast Club's new B-list boosters, where we talk about some of the B-list characters that we've enjoyed over the years in comics. They may not be big things to everybody. They may not be huge money makers, but we thought that they are characters that have a lot of potential, sometimes realized, sometimes not. Also, Pulp Reality number 2 will be coming out soon. Pulp Reality number 1 had my B-Man character's first adventure. The follow-up, the second adventure, is in Pulp Reality number 2, coming this summer from Stormgate Press.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Clyde. Appreciate you so much, man. And bringing up to the pack here is the one, the only Mr. Brian Rodman. How can people follow you?
Yes, I am Brian Rodman. I am the author and illustrator of comics like Memoirs of an Angel, as well as the upcoming apocalyptic action comedy, The Nebulizer. If this spring is killing your allergies, kill those allergies right back with The Nebulizer, coming to Kickstarter May 28th. You can follow me at brianrodman.com, get all the details, sign up for our newsletter. I'm about to send out There's some behind the scenes stuff of the nebulizer as well, so you don't want to miss that. And yeah, from brianrodman.com, you can get all of my social media. You can get a link to the Patreon as well. Keep up with any Kickstarter that I'm doing at the time. So thanks. This has been a good episode.
All right. Thank you so much, Brian. Appreciate it. Appreciate all of my co-hosts. Thank you to Clyde Hall, Brian Rodman, and Eric S. Hawkins for their insight and their fun. And I am Brian K. Morris, independent publisher, freelance hybrid author, Facebook famous YouTuber, award-winning playwright, and former mortician's assistant. I will be having some news in the immediate future about a new publication I'm in, and I'm very excited about. But I've been sworn to secrecy, unfortunately. But you know me, I won't be able to keep my tongue in place for long. Shut up, Christian. But anyway, also we want to thank everyone who was tuned in tonight. Great show. Thank you, Carl Wisman, and thanks for hosting the adventure. See you all around because I look funny with corners. You're beautiful, Cindy Cap. Mwah. And Carl gets the last laugh. He laughed best. But anyway, if you want to follow me, I am on most social media. I'm mainly on Facebook. Go to risingtide.pub where you'll find a link at the top to sign up for my free monthly newsletter. Next issue should go out May 1st. Also, we are broadcasting on the Rising Tide Broadcasting Network. Check it out right here. We've got education, information, entertainment, all kinds of great content 7 days a week. And tomorrow will be a very special start to the Friday with a very special host of Never Mind the Furthermore, Mr. Joe D. McPhee from the desk of a small press publisher. Looking forward to seeing what he does with Never Mind the Furthermore. And next week, Monday will be me again, and then Wednesday will be Ryan Permisson Hang at the Web Show Network, and then Carl Witzman will be taking the Friday chair, and that way you'll get to see during the next week 3 examples of the show being done correctly. I have no faith in myself, but anyway, please join me at please sign up for our Facebook page, the Rising Tide Publications page, Rising Tide Broadcast page. Also, we're on YouTube. Really excited about the growth on YouTube, and please subscribe. And every time you do subscribe, an angel gets its wings, and your comic book will go up 1 grade in value. Seriously. But anyway, I will also be at Big River Comic Con this tomorrow, April 23rd, and Saturday the 24th. That's from 3 to 9 on Friday, and 9 to 9 on Saturday. There's going to be cosplay. There's going to be drawing contests that Eric Hawkins is going to win. We'll have author Amy Hale there, Ming from the Comic Guys. We've got animators, all kinds of great entertainment. Please come see us in Hannibal, Missouri at 6400 County Road 445, Hannibal, Missouri. That's Big River Comic Con. Look for their page on Facebook. All right. It's going to be a grand time. And I want to also thank our Patreon subscribers. For a modest monthly subscription, you can support your favorite creators, and we do appreciate everyone who supports us. Also, you get stuff for it, like being mentioned on shows like this and our future publications. So go to www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris and find out what kind of rewards we can give you for supporting us. We appreciate you very much. It helps keep this show around. And also thank you to Jeffrey Hayes of Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it matters to your readers. So please check out what they do. You're going to see an ad for them. They did it. They're amazing. They're wonderful. And I think that's all I've got right now. So thank you for listening. Tune in tomorrow morning. Actually, tune in tomorrow. 6 p.m. we'll be Drinking with the Davies with Ted and Chrissy Davies. 7 p.m. will be Michaela Jade's Tidbits and Scribbles. Then 8 o'clock will be the Historical Fencing Guild with Nick Tockert. And again, please tune in tomorrow morning and give Joe D. McPhee from the Desk of Small Press Publisher some love and support, as you've all done for me on Never Mind the Furthermore. So as always, folks, thank you very much for being here. Have a great rest of your week. Hope to see you in Hannibal, Missouri this weekend. And remember, as always, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Thank you all for watching Comic Book Spectrum. See you next Thursday.
From author Brian K. Morris comes a classic hero in a high-flying, fast-paced, and action-packed steampunk adventure. The original Skyman battles the Master of Steam with an introduction by comics icon and historian Roy Thomas. A Rising Tide, an Ace Comics publication. Available now in print or digital format on Amazon.com.
Thank you for watching Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Please join us next week for another look at comics, past, present, and future. If you enjoyed this, please give the show a like and be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. To receive our free monthly newsletter, go to www.risingtide.pub and be sure to give the Rising Tide Broadcast Network page on Facebook a like in order to receive news about upcoming shows including Clever Title Pending, Stupid O'Clock, Clever as Hail, Comics Chaos and Sass, Tidbits and Scribbles, the Historical Fencing Guild, and never mind the Furthermore. See you next week.